Hey everybody, Jimbo here. Just wanted to let you know that we were going to finish up our Herb Baumeister and the Fox Hollow Murders series this week, but Dustin and I have received information that there is going to be another special event / discussion coming this week on Wednesday that we've entered to get tickets to. So we decided to push it off a week. And also to break up the monotonous of Herb Baumeister, we decided to go ahead and put out an episode with none other than Jackae's return. So we hope you enjoy this show. See you next time. All right, guys, welcome back to Dark Discoveries. I'm your host, Jimbo, and I'm joined tonight with
Dustin.
Dustin, tonight we are celebrating We Don't Call It a Comeback. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. The ghost with the most, the lady of the podcast, our friend.
My lovelies, I'm Jackae, and I've missed y'all. It's good to be back.
Jackae is back, I would say in the building, but this is a remote recording, so
we're back until she decides to play actress again. But
yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're going to get some royalties for that, Dustin. I don't know how this goes.
I just want some comp tickets at least, but
yeah.
Hey, we'll see what I can do.
We had to pay our hard-earned money to go see her
twice.
Yes. Sorry, I'm sorry. I loved it though. It was so wonderful seeing you guys, and that was such a fun show. It was
definitely a fun show, and it sounded like I missed out on the one that went after it. So,
my gosh,
we're gonna have to just buy season tickets and be done with it.
Yeah, they've got one more, and it's going this weekend, so it's fun. But yeah, it's a big musical.
So tonight, in just typical old-fashioned fashion that we do, we've all decided to take 3 stories that none of us know what the other one's covering. So you never know when this podcast gets derailed tonight. So I guess we're going to start off with Dustin, because if it's going to derail, it might as well derail right off the bat.
Might as well start at the beginning. And I've got 5 pages, so we'll see if we can't get through this and all of us get a turn.
All right.
So I'm not going to tell you what this topic is. You're going to find out in real time with everybody else. So downtown Memphis changes after dark, and Memphis has probably changed. They say it's a ghost town down there now, but the daytime traffic starts to thin out. The storefront lights start to reflect against the pavement. Typically, you have music spilling out of Beale Street, which I heard it's getting kind of thin these days because of crime and all that. But I heard it's maybe making a comeback. So as you move toward South Main, you're going to see towering above the streets a sign glowing vertically that says the Orpheum Theater, I believe is how you say it, Orpheum. And if you've never looked up this theater in Memphis, it is a gem. Like, I'm going to put it up there with the IRT that we talked about in our very first episode. And that's kind of why I got this, because what better way to get Jackae back in the mix than to talk about theaters.
I love it.
So you should Google it while we're probably talking, because it's a pretty freaking awesome theater. I may risk my life to go see a show there. It's so freaking cool. It's one of these buildings that immediately feels important when you see it. It's got a big marquee, elaborate plaster work inside, red velvet seats, glittering chandeliers that belong in a bygone era. An age when attending a theater was not simply entertainment, it was an event. But when the audience leaves, the performers remove their costumes and the final employees clean up for the night. They shut off the lights, and some people believe that the Orpheum's oldest patron still remains inside. Employees have reported unexplained footsteps, flickering of lights, doors that seem to move without anybody touching them. Typical ghost stuff, right? Performers have claimed to see somebody sitting in the audience while the theater was completely empty. And for decades, visitors have been told about a young girl with dark hair, braided into pigtails, dressed in white. They call her Mary, And according to legend, Mary never misses a performance. The story of Memphis's haunted theater doesn't begin with Mary. It begins with another building, another audience, and a fire that nearly erased the Orpheum before the theater that we know today had ever been constructed. In 1890, the Grand Opera House opened near and Beale Street. At the time, it was considered one of Memphis's finest entertainment venues. Traveling theatrical companies, musicians, vaudeville performers appeared on its stage, giving Memphis audiences access to some of the most popular entertainment in the country. You know, without a play back then, you're probably just maybe listening to a radio. It's the late 1800s, early 1900s. You know, you want to go see something live in the flesh. In 1907, the theater became part of the Orpheum vaudeville circuit and adopted the Orpheum name. And I hope I'm saying it right. I only know this because I watch a guy on YouTube, Gary. Oh, I think it's Gary. Now I'm totally spacing it. But he goes and travels. You see a lot of the different parts of the country that you don't normally see. You get to see the grittier side sometimes, but then you also get to see cool gems like this. For years, performers passed through the building while the crowds gathered beneath its lights. But on October 18th, 1923, a fire broke out during a performance.
That's my birthday.
The original, what's that?
That's my birthday. Not 1923.
Let's say you're old.
I was going to say, you ghost.
The original building was destroyed. The fire sometimes is repeated as the source of the theater's hauntings, and in dramatic retellings, occasionally they imply that people may have died inside. However, there's no historical evidence connecting Mary or any confirmed group of fatalities to a fire. That distinction is important. A building can have genuine history without ever having a frightening story attached to it. What the fire did leave behind was an empty space in the cultural center of Memphis. 5 years later, on November 19th, 1928, a new Orpheum Theater opened on the same site. What better way not to have a haunted place is to just build right back where you were. Let's just, use the same, foundation, the ancient. Oh, it's just an Indian burial ground. We don't really need to worry about what was there before us. We just need to worry about what we're doing now. And while I'm trying to do an ADD break while I'm, ad-libbing and filibustering here. I'm trying to get this guy's name so I can give him credit because I do really like it. And then, of course, when I go to tell a story, I'm going to screw something up. So when I get done, I'll have you guys fill some time and I'll give you who this guy is so you guys can follow him and kind of see what we're talking about. This was not a modest replacement that they built on the same site. The new theater was larger, more ornate, and intended to overwhelm visitors from the moment they walked in the door. And I think when you see it, you're going to kind of agree that, man, what they were doing back then, where you couldn't just go get a CNC machine and cut out wood stuff. You had to carve it. It's just, man, it's a sight to see. The auditorium contained thousands of seats, an orchestra pit, balconies, dome ceilings, and elaborate decorations in gold, red, and cream. Massive chandeliers hung above the public rooms. Twin staircases rose through the grand lobby. Decorative plasterwork covered the walls and the ceiling. The building was designed to make ordinary visitors feel as they had entered a palace. I kind of feel like that's how a lot of those, that was, I think, the theme when you're building a theater. Here we have, one of the ones around here besides the IRT we have is, now I'm going to space it too, the one in Anderson.
The Paramount.
The Paramount Theater. I'm sure it's not perfect anymore. It's been 20, 30 years since I've been in, but
they've done a lot of restoration work to it. It's beautiful.
It sticks in my mind. Even back then, it was just, you knew you were someplace special. So vaudeville was still popular when this new theater opened, but the entertainment scene was changing. Motion pictures became increasingly more popular, and the Orpheum eventually graduated from being a live performance theater into a movie place or palace. Generations of Memphians sat beneath the chandelier and watched stories unfold across the screen. Children attended matinees. Couples met beneath the marquee. Ushers guided people to their seats. Back then they still guided you with flashlights. Employees crossed the darkened auditorium long before the audience would go home. These quiet hours were when many of the ghost stories began within the theater. A theater behaves differently when it's empty. During a performance, every creak and vibration disappears beneath the music, the acting, the applause, the conversations. Afterwards, some of those sounds become impossible to ignore. Like I said, one
thing though, when I went to go see the second of where Jackie does her summer theater, it's actually a barn, right? That they've converted into theater. And the birds were having a field day in there. They were chirping the entire performance. So I don't know how they kept it together, but it was great.
I tell you what, that theater is something else. We actually, fun fact, had a possum that moved in, and all the actors just, not this year, but this was a couple years back. All the actors, we just worked around the possum. It became part of the property. And you'd walk into a room and he was like laying on one of the old like prop sofas and stuff. And we were like, hey, there he is. So it is a legit barn, and it is the hottest place in the world to put on a show. But man, is it fun. I love it every year.
Has any time you've been performing there, have you ever something ever happened where you just had to stop the performance? Like a fire, a tornado siren or anything?
Not when I was there, but yes. When they did Boeing in 2022, there was a fire, and it was in the electrical system. So they had to evacuate the building. And then I won't say what theater or what show it was, but it wasn't my show. It was one of the actors that I know and you guys have seen on stage many times was on stage and noticed someone in the second row wasn't moving or acting right, and made note of it and made sure to tell people at intermission something's not right. And lo and behold, the person in the audience had passed away.
Oh no!
During the show. And
were they by themselves?
Yes.
Okay, yes. But I say, because if you were with somebody, they'd have to notice. But the thing is, when they must have been like centers, like somewhere, because you guys aren't making eye contact with anybody.
I will say this: when we're on stage, you can see maybe 3 or 4 rows back, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you notice things like, because I have to look past the audience when I'm on stage. Otherwise, you kind of lose some of the magic if you break that fourth wall. And so we kind of train ourselves to not look directly at people. But when you're up high and you're not the one talking and you've got long breaks before your next line, you do kind of gander a little bit here. And yeah, so one of the actors that you guys have seen on stage before has actually had to took note of that and let someone know, and they waited until everyone filed out, and then they called EMTs, and lo and behold.
Oh, so yeah. we stayed for the second because that performance killed it. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Quite literally, they didn't want to stop the show.
So the person sat there through the second half of the act. Can you imagine sitting next to a dead person? Excuse me, I'd like to get through here. I mean,
I'll say this: there's been many shows that I've done where older people are asleep, and like just. No joke. I don't know what it is about a Sunday matinee crowd, but they eat their big lunches and then they come and they nap during the shows. And like, it's every theater I've ever worked at. And I actually one time came out on set and there was a gentleman in the first row and he had a neck pillow and he was full blown asleep with his mouth open.
I do want to wear a neck pillow in public so I can just like lay my head over in comfort, but It's funny
Yes,
because we did go to a Sunday show because of a rain out, because
yeah.
it's a barn, grass parking, floods. And I'm 40 years old now, and the wife like said, "We're youngins here."
Yes,
Like we were
absolutely.
like,
The Sunday shows are the elderly every time. They don't want to do those late night shows.
yeah, it just cracks me up. But so I'm gonna give credit where credit's due on this. And I'm sorry for saying Gary, because I don't know why Gary V popped in my head, because that's who I was thinking of. And I'm like, it's not Gary V. Peter Santinello. He's got a series where he was in Memphis. The episode is right along with, well, that's not that one. Never mind. I went down too far. Inside Memphis's What the Media Won't Show You. I'm pretty sure it's that episode. But he's got a few where he's in Memphis, and that's one of the places that they go. And I mean, it's, if you've never watched him, you're going to see like him from being in like the hood in LA with, you know, Bloods and Crips driving around town. I think he said he went to the hood in Bangladesh, places like that.
Wow.
And then you see like the dark side of like Savannah, Georgia, like what the normal people see, not the tourism. You see, you know, good, but you see a lot of like, and you see it from the locals' perspective, because if you listen to the news, especially with Memphis, stay away, don't get anywhere close. And they're saying that, hey, you know, it is a little bit different. There's things to see. It's getting better. They're making headway, but the media is not going to tell you about that. So I wanted to give his YouTube a shout out, because it's one of those things I do enjoy. One of my weird things that I make my wife sit and watch. So once the building settles, you know, pipes expand, they contrast. I mean, I live in an old house. You hear noises that, you know, if you're a believer, you probably think the place is haunted. Air moves through passageways, but hidden behind walls. You know, the curtains are going to shift. The seats rise after somebody stands. You mean, so you're going to maybe have one that sticks and comes up late. You never know. A sound made backstage may travel through the auditorium and seem to come from a balcony, because it's going to bounce and reverberate. So you don't really know. Most of these noises have explanations, but employees at the Orpheum began reporting something more specific. They spoke about a little girl. Accounts differ regarding when Mary was first seen, but stories about her have circulated around the theater for more than half of a century. Witnesses generally describe her as a young girl of approximately 12 or 13. She's said to have dark hair, often worn in braids or pigtails, and she's usually described wearing a white dress, which is probably going to be, you know, the style of the time of, you know, probably the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the original theater would have been there. The Orpheum itself acknowledges Mary as a part of the building's folklore, describing her as a sweet and mischievous presence during official theater tours. Mary's favorite location is supposedly seat C5. A hat seat is on her seat's on the main floor, close enough to the stage that anyone sitting there would have a clear view of the performance. I'm get me in the middle. I want to take it in as much as I can the way you're supposed to.
I'm the same way. The right seat makes all the show.
Like we go to a movie, I'm counting the seats to where I'm exactly in the middle, and you can either sit on either side of me, because I am in the middle seat. I want to be immersed.
I'm front row left, down in the front.
Well, that's where we normally go, because you know, let's be honest, you know, in a movie you want to be in the very back, in the middle. I think a play you want to be in the very front, in the middle.
Oh,
that's my opinion. Now,
you guys just making me nervous.
You didn't even know I was there last time.
I didn't. You were so hidden. It was good.
I've been to some concerts that have low stages and it's standing, and then you feel like you're looking at somebody's crotch. So, I mean, at least the theater, you're sitting down and you're looking up. But, you know, it's one of those. Yes. It's all about, you know, I mean, being at the right place, but maybe in the back it's better because the sound mix and the way the voices echo through. You know, but that's my opinion. Like I'm right, but that's my opinion. So some versions of the story claim performers have looked in the audience during rehearsals and noticed a little girl sitting alone. At first, nothing about her appeared supernatural. She simply looked like a child watching the stage. Then someone would go to investigate and the seat would be empty. Other witnesses claim Mary has been moving through the lobby or standing near the staircase. She has reportedly appeared at the edge of somebody's vision, only to vanish when they turned towards her. Employees have contributed the unexplained laughter, footsteps, and moving objects to Mary. Unlike many ghost stories, Mary is rarely described as frightening or threatening. She does not chase employees through the backstage corridors. She doesn't appear covered in blood. She doesn't scream from the balcony in an attempt to force people out of the building. Mary watches. Occasionally she plays. One frequent repeated tradition holds that performers and theater employees introduce themselves to Mary when enter the building. Some acknowledge her before the show. Others leave small gifts or speak to her as if she was a member of the theater company.
Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow?
This does not necessarily mean that every performer believes in ghosts. I'm a skeptic. I've seen some stuff, makes me wonder. So I'm very much a skeptic. So I would go in and probably be like, that's just an old building. Theater people are famously superstitious. Jackie?
Yes, we are. Yes, we believe in gremlins. We believe in the ghost
Bigfoot?
light itself. All kinds of things.
I'm guessing just because knowing you, they all
we
believe
don't
in
say the
Bigfoot.
names of certain shows.
What do you mean certain shows?
You know the show.
I do?
You do.
What show would they not say?
Right.
Oh, really? Why not?
It's a Shakespeare show. Oh, you don't say it.
Oh, I thought it was like Rocky Horror Picture
You don't
Show.
say Psycho?
Okay, we'll have to. You know what? I will cover a story about why we don't do that. I will cover that one.
What, Psycho?
No, I'm not going to say it. You're not going to get me.
Well, but you said it was Shakespeare, and then you were doing the Psycho thing. So now I'm really confused.
Yes.
Are you talking about Macbeth?
Okay. Yeah, those are. Yes, that's the one.
Oh, I've seen that several times. It's a fantastic play.
It's fantastic, but the actors themselves will not say it when they're in that show because bad things happen. Notoriously bad things.
Oh, yeah, you got to
Yeah,
cover
I'll
this
cover
because
that
I'm very interested now.
I'm sure that's
It's
probably where
a
like
good
Break a
one.
Leg comes from or something.
Yeah, you know what? We can cover some of that because actors are crazy people. I will tell you.
I know.
Yeah, we know one.
I was going to say, you guys know it. You see me all the time. It was good.
I know, like racing, there's some superstitions like not having any green, not eating peanuts in the pits, which I didn't do that, but I painted my race car. I wrapped it green. It was black and green.
Don't eat peanuts, period. That's just bad. Yeah,
And
I don't want to die.
And it made 3 races. And, you know, I've heard people as far as buying a battery that was green, an interstate battery has a green top, that they would go as far as to paint it before they put it in their race car so they wouldn't have green. I said, I'm just going to go with the green. I said, Kyle Busch kicks ass with green right now. I'm going green. It didn't work out for me, but it's not because it was green. But yeah, I mean, we're all pretty superstitious in our own ways, I think.
Yeah.
But like I said, theater people are famously superstitious. They avoid saying the title of Shakespeare's Macbeth inside the theater unless rehearsing or performing it. They tell actors to break a leg instead of wishing them good luck. Sorry, I had to recover some information, like just behind the curtains, because my computer gave me faults today. So some of this is a little bit new to me. Many theaters leave a single light burning on stage after everyone has gone home. We've talked about that, and we talked about it today, and we talked about it in our first episode. It's practical. It's a safety device known as a ghost light, but it's also the center of countless supernatural traditions. See, if I had just read forward, I would have had all those answers for you, Jimbo.
I could tell you all about it, or you could listen to episode 1.
Acknowledging Mary may simply be another piece of theatrical. Yeah,
theatrical.
It's one of those words you look at and you're just like, that doesn't
look right. Yeah.
A lot of words are that way. Words are hard.
Yes, they are.
Shout out to everybody who knows that reference.
Stay in school, kids. Dustin.
Yeah, I don't recommend going to every class with a stock car magazine and taking a nap. Like, I don't know if my books ever made it out of my car. or got opened in high school, but I wasn't paying attention to anything they were talking about. Mm-hmm. But this folklore tends to survive when people continue having experiences that seem to support it. If nobody has anything, they're just going to forget about it. Most common explanations for Mary's death is that she was killed in an accident near the theater. Some versions may say she was struck by a streetcar. Others say she died in an automobile accident just outside the building. Kind of sounds like the IRT at Indy. A few accounts place her death before the present Orpheum was opened. So if you do that before then, it's 1920. So it's pre-1928. Automobiles are still pretty, new. Streetcars are going to be running up and down the street. So it's very well could be a streetcar she ran out in front of. Could have been a fire, possibly. Could have been somebody trying to learn to drive a vehicle because they were new. Who knows? Maybe one day we can ask her and she'll tell us. Mm-hmm. A few accounts place her death before, like I said, the present theater was opened, while others move her accident into later decades. The details change because no reliable historical records have ever been found that conclusively identifies Mary. No public verified death certificates, no newspaper reports, or cemetery records have definitively connected a girl named Mary to the theater. Her age just between 12 and 13. The date of her death changes. Even the type of accident varies depending on who tells the story. Imagine that. We've all played telephone. It's nowhere near where you start. But this does not prove that every sighting is false. It means the biography created for the ghost is folklore rather than an established history. The uncertainty may actually be one of the reasons Mary's story has survived. A solved mystery eventually becomes history. An unsolved mystery invites every generation to tell it again and again and again, and that's where the variations can change. One theory suggests Mary may have died in an accident somewhere nearby and entered the theater shortly before or after her death. Another proposes that she once attended a show and that was a place that she was happy, and she returned to a place that she was happy. Some think that Mary may not be connected to the theater's history at all. They argue that certain places attract activity because of the intensity and emotions that are experienced in those locations. Considering what happens inside a theater night after night, actors create grief, terror, joy, anger, love, all on the same stage. Audiences respond with laughter, sometimes tears, shock, applause. Hopefully they're not, shocked tears, but
yeah.
Hey,
I've had an audience that was about that way one time. Ooh, it's rough.
Thousands of people focus their attention towards one place, often while music vibrates through the building. To believers in residual hauntings, that emotional energy might leave an impression. And I do believe that impressions can be left, where you have something typically really bad. I think it's just hard to pull that bad juju out of the area, because there are some places you go that just give you an uneasy feeling. And I think that's typically places that, have great tragedy. A residual haunting is sometimes compared to a recording. The apparition doesn't interact or with witnesses. It repeats the action associated with its past. Walking down the corridor, sitting in a particular chair, appearing in the same location. If Mary consistently appears in or near seat C5, some paranormal enthusiasts would classify her as residual. But others' stories are going to suggest intelligence. Mary has reportedly reacted to people, moved objects, and appeared to choose when she reveals herself. Those accounts describe what paranormal investigators call an intelligent haunting, a presence supposed to be aware of the living and capable of responding to them. Neither category has been scientifically established. These are theories used within the paranormal investigation world to organize reported experiences, and Mary may not be alone. The Tennessee State Museum has said the Orpheum contains as many as 7 paranormal visitors. Although Mary remains the most famous, reports connected to the building also include shadow figures, unexplained sounds and sights of people who vanish, before witnesses can ever approach him. One tradition speaks of a masked figure seen backstage. Other accounts mention an apparition resembling a man dressed in clothing from an earlier time period. There are stories or figures appearing in the balcony and unexplained voices heard when nobody else is nearby. As with Mary, the identities of the supposed spirits remain unknown. A theater employs far more people than the audience ever sees. I don't think so about the Red Barn. There's about like 10.
I was going to say, I think you see all of us and the actors because we're pulling double duty.
Everybody has a job.
Yep.
But I'm sure bigger productions, you've got dozens of people behind the scenes. Performers receive the applause, but behind every production, there's stagehands, ushers, musicians, costume workers, technicians, cleaners, managers, maintenance employees, and they're going to spend years within the same building. If any location was capable of collecting human memories, a theater would be a strong candidate. Every hallway has been crossed thousands of times by everybody within the building. Every dressing room has held nervous performers preparing to go on stage. Every seat has been occupied by strangers temporarily sharing the same experience. Still, there are practical explanations for many of the reported activities. The Orpheum is an enormous historical building. Sound travels, unpredictably through the theater. Conversations, backstage can echo through what appears to be an empty corridor. Old electrical systems can cause lights to flicker. Ventilation systems can create cold areas. Heavy doors may shift the pressure, inside the rooms and make changes. Human perception also plays a major role. The design of the theater adds to its effect. Ornate decorations can produce complicated shadows. Mirrors reflect movement from unexpected angles. The red curtain and the darkened balconies make it difficult to determine whether someone moved or was merely appeared to move. There are also the power of suggestion. Tell someone that a particular seat is haunted, and they will pay closer attention to it. Tell them a little girl walks to the lobby. Every distant glimpse of white fabric becomes significant to them. But skepticism does not erase experiences of the witness. See how much more I got. I hate to take up all our time.
Oh, we're going extra long. We're getting through it all tonight. This is Jackie's comeback episode, buddy. So you take as long as you want.
I've missed my boys.
Well, like I said, I'm getting there, but it's like, man, I feel like I've been going forever.
Well, you have. That's why Jackie's asleep.
Well,
I am laying on my bed.
You're over there grabbing Funko Pops from behind you and making. Wait till we wait.
Who has a Funko Pop?
Wait till we go on YouTube
bobblehead.
and they're going to see all your shenanigans.
Oh, they might.
Many of the theater's employees are familiar with the building. They know what sounds are made, when the AC starts. They know which doors close by themselves, what floorboards creak. When those people start reporting something they can't explain, their familiarity makes the account more interesting, even though it still does not constitute proof that there's anything supernatural. The Orpheum survival may just be as remarkable as any ghost story attached to it. By the 1970s, large downtown movie palaces, which I don't know why they call it a palace, why they're saying palace. I don't understand. But it's a movie palace. Movie palaces across the country were struggling. Suburban theaters and the smaller multiplexes attracted audiences away from that single stage screen, that single movie, screen, which is cool because you still have a few of those small places today that does Greenwood have like a small theater, Jimbo?
Do what?
Does Greenwood still have a small, like one or two? I've seen one somewhere.
Danville has one, a one-room theater.
Not that I am aware of anymore. I haven't really dove that much into the theaters in Greenwood either.
The Orpheum survival may be just as remarkable as the ghost story attached to it. By the 1970s, large downtown movie palaces across America began to struggle, just like malls are today. Suburban theaters and smaller multiplexes attracted audiences away from the aging single screen theaters. The Orpheum screened its final regular movie in 1976, and the building faced the possibility of being demolished.
So it went from a stage theater to a movie place? Is that what you're saying?
Because you had to roll with the times, Jimbo. Aren't you listening?
Yeah, kind of, but it's been about a half hour.
So what happens when a treasure to your community is up for destruction? Your local people, the Memphians, the people of Memphis, organized efforts to save it. Just make it a piece of the National Historic Registry and you're golden. After that, they can't touch it. Preservation efforts transformed the deteriorating movie palace back into a major performing arts venue. The building closed for extensive restoration in 1982 and would reopen in January of 1984. Further renovations followed, allowing the Orpheum to continue hosting Broadway productions, concerts, films, and community programs. That restoration raises an question. Paranormal reports often increase during renovations. Believers claim construction disturbs the spirits by changing familiar surroundings. Skeptics point out that renovations expose hidden air currents, unstable wiring, maybe animals inside the walls, and structural conditions capable of producing unexplained sounds. At the Orpheum's restoration, it also meant that more employees, more performers, and visitors were entering previously neglected sections of the building. More people inside naturally creates more opportunities for unusual experiences to be reported. But perhaps there are other reasons the stories continued. Saving the theater also saves its folklore. Had the Orpheum been demolished, Mary may have became a forgotten story attached to an empty lot. Instead, new productions brought new cast. Each cast heard about the little girl in white. Some laughed, some politely introduced themselves, and a few claim that before leaving Memphis, they encountered her. Imagine sitting alone on the stage. The auditorium stretches out before you. The house lights are off. Hundreds of empty red seats disappear into the darkness. The balcony seems to float above the room. Beyond the first few rows, you cannot see anything, which in our little ADD break we took, maybe it was an ADD break. Maybe it was part of the regular episode.
Can you stop saying that? Stop saying ADD break.
It is. I have, trust me, I suffer from it, and I'm going to steal it from Kevin. I don't care.
I'm going to delete it out every time.
Like Jackae said, you don't notice anything past the first few rows. Then you notice movement near the aisle. For a moment, you think somebody has entered the room. A small figure stands near the seats. Dark hair, pale dress. You call out, but nobody answers. You step forward, and there's nobody there. Was it Mary? Was it a reflective light, a curtain, a person who left before you could clearly see him? An honest answer to this is we don't know. There's no definitive evidence that ghosts exist. There are no confirmed records, like we said, attaching any ghost to this building that we know of, especially one named Mary. What exists are the stories repeated by employees, performers, visitors, and generations of Memphians. And perhaps that is appropriate. The Orpheum was built to tell stories. Its stage has transformed actors into heroes, villains, lovers, monsters, and ghosts. Its screens once projected people who appeared alive, even though they were only shadow and light. Every audience enters knowing that what they are seeing is an illusion. Yet for a few hours, they agree to believe. Maybe Mary is another illusion produced by its architecture, expectations, and your imagination. Maybe she's a character created collectively by thousands of people who needed at the old theater to have permanent resident. Or perhaps when a building is silent and the lights go down, a young girl still takes her place near the front. She doesn't need a ticket. She doesn't disturb the performance. She just simply sits in her favorite seat, C5, watching the stage as the curtain rises once more. And when the applause begins, Mary disappears in the darkness. waiting for the next show at Memphis's haunted Orpheum Theater.
Dustin, so
I'm done.
if we ever go, would you go take a picture with C5, or would you sit in C5?
I would take one near it. I don't think I would.
I'm gonna sit right on that thing and take a picture.
I'm gonna take a big old forward.
I'm here, Mary. Move out of the way.
I'm not trying to have no.
Move over, Mary. I'm here for a show.
When I get done with it, it'll be called the Orpheum Theater instead of the Orpheum Theater. Look at it. He's so mad already. Look.
No, like I said, go ahead and piss off some ghosts, Jimbo. See what happens. I told you I'm a skeptic, and most can be disproved, but you're trying to play with fire, and who knows what you're going to bring home. I'm not riding home with you or riding with you there because nobody's getting attached to me. I'll sage myself. I don't care.
It might smell better.
Yeah, it's better than you fart on everything.
All right, so
go poop.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So Dustin welcomed Jackie back with one of her favorite theatrical things, right? I figured, what a better way to welcome Jackie back than something about good old-fashioned torture, right? One of the most cruelest torture devices ever created. So, theater torture, it's kind of the same thing. So
yeah, I like it.
We're gonna.
I don't know. An hour with you on Zoom's freaking torture enough for me.
An hour with you in person is even worse. So here we go. We're going to travel back to ancient Sicily during the 6th century before Christ. At that time, Sicily was one of the richest regions in the Mediterranean world. Greek colonists had established prosperous cities across the island, and its fertile soil produced enormous harvests of wheat, olives, grapes, and livestock. Wealth poured into these cities through trade, but prosperity also attracted ambition. Rival city-states constantly fought for territory and influence, while wealthy families struggled for political control. Coups, assassinations, and violent revolutions were common. In this unstable environment, ambitious military leaders could seize power almost overnight, often ruling through intimidation and fear rather than popular support. One such ruler that we're talking about was a man named Phalaris, who became the tyrant of the Greek city of Acragas, known today as Agrigento. If I'm mispronouncing these names, blame Dustin. But on the southern coast of Sicily, right? So although historians continue to debate exactly how he came into power, ancient writers describe him as a clever and ruthless politician. No different than what we have today anywhere. According to the traditional story, Phalaris was placed in charge of overseeing the construction of a large temple. Instead of simply transporting building materials, he secretly armed many of the laborers under his command. When the opportunity presented itself, he launched a surprise attack, seized control of the city, and declared himself the ruler. I am the ruler. Whether every detail of this account is accurate remains uncertain, but there is little doubt that later generations remember Phalaris as one of the antiquity's most feared tyrants. His name became synonymous with cruelty in much the same way that modern history remembers dictators who brutally overshadowed everything else they accomplished. The reputation of Phalaris eventually became inseparable from the story of an inventor named Paralis, sometimes referred to in ancient texts as Paralis, so they spell it differently, but pretty much the same thing. He was said to be a talented bronze craftsman who believed he could earn the favor of the tyrant by presenting him with a remarkable invention. Rather than creating a beautiful statue or an elaborate piece of artwork, Paralis designed what he considered the ultimate method of execution. His creation was a magnificent bronze bull cast with extraordinary detail. To anyone viewing it from the outside, it appeared to be an impressive work of art worthy of a public square or even a temple. But hidden within, however, was a completely different purpose. The statue was actually hollow, containing just enough room for a human being to be locked inside through a concealed door built in on its side.
Testicle. No.
The concept behind the Brazen Bull was as horrifying as it was genius. Once a condemned prisoner had been forced inside the statue, the door would be tightly sealed. Workers would then pile wood beneath the bull and ignite a fire.
I was just thinking a bronze bull in the sun would get hot. Alone.
Adding fire to it.
Underneath it.
Dustin, I'm going to have you look up a picture of this. I want you to describe to the people once we get done. But bronze is an excellent conductor of heat, meaning that as the flames burned hotter, the entire interior of the statue would gradually become unbearably hot. Unlike a quick execution, death inside the Brazen Bull was intended to be slow. Victims would first experience intense heat, followed by dehydration, blistering skin, suffocating air, and eventually catastrophic burns as every surface around them became scorching hot. Modern engineers who have examined the concept generally agree that while ancient writers may have exaggerated certain details, such a device could indeed function as a deadly torture chamber if constructed as described. And as if roasting a human being alive were not horrifying enough, Perillus supposedly added one final invention that he believed would impress the tyrant even more. Hey, I'm already going to impress him. Let's just go for the gold. Inside the head of the bronze bull, he installed a carefully designed system of pipes and resonating chambers. According to the ancient writers, these tubes altered the screams of the person trapped inside, causing them to emerge from the bull's mouth, sounding less like human cries and more like the deep, mournful bellowing of an enraged animal. So you're burning alive and you're screaming. And it's like, Perillus reportedly described this feature with pride, believing that execution become almost musical performances rather than gruesome spectacles. Oh, no. In doing so, he demonstrated an especially chilling aspect of human cruelty. His invention did not merely kill, it stripped away the victim's humanity, transforming desperate cries for mercy into entertainment for those gathered outside. Ironically, the most famous part of this story involves the inventor himself. According to the ancient legend, Phalaris admired the craftsmanship of the bronze bull and actually praised Perillus for his remarkable engineering. He then asked the inventor to climb inside the statue so that he could demonstrate exactly how the acoustic system worked. Proud of his creation, Perillus willingly entered the hollow chamber. The door was immediately locked behind him, and Phalaris ordered a fire to be lit beneath the bull. As the heat rose, Perillus began screaming, and those outside reportedly heard the strange animal-like sounds he had promised. Satisfied that the invention functioned exactly as intended, Phalaris ordered the fire extinguished before Perillus died. However, the inventor was then dragged from the bull, badly burned but still alive. Rather than rewarding him and praising him, Phalaris supposedly ordered that Perillus be thrown from a nearby cliff to his death. Now, whether this dramatic ending actually occurred, it's impossible to prove, but the story has survived because it carries a timeless lesson. Those who create instruments of cruelty may one day become victims of their own inventions. So, Dustin, what does the Brazen Bull look like? Could you describe the Brazen Bull to people?
So, if you search, the first thing that pops up looks like people taking a bath inside of it. and then the next one,
it's a hot tub.
The next one shows a guy laying with their buttocks and their legs going into the rear legs, so your back is right in the belly of the beast, with a fire underneath it, and looks like some type of a trumpet inside of it, like like a round. I don't know. I guess it's not a trumpet, but
yeah, it's probably the tubes where they echo your cries into the sounds of the animal, I would say. But can you imagine anywhere you would touch it, that thing is going to be so hot.
Oh, it's just
you're just going to burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't move anywhere except for to lay on your back, because you roll over, it's on your stomach. You can't sit up.
Well, you can't even be on your back, because you could think that heat's just penetrating all the way through.
Even if you found a way to wedge your body up, you're still going to just cook.
Something's touching that metal calf, brazen calf, wherever you're going.
I think they missed the chance to put some water in its legs, so that way when it got hot, it would at least steam you as well.
Well, I was also reading that they said that when some
very economic, like not very.
Well, Dustin, what I was saying is, I read also that when they would be done burning you, that actually some of the bones, because of the bronze, it actually turns your bones into like some sort of like metal looking thing, and that Phalaris would actually make bracelets and jewelry out of it too. So it's kind of wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just
that's
one of those
nuts.
things. It just doesn't seem practical.
So I'll be bringing more torture stories in the future. I have one that really outstanding, and I just can't wait for Dustin to hear it because he's going to be like,
just, shackling your arms up, putting your head in the wood, and just making you sit and wait.
Mm.
All right, Jackie, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, my little buddy loves when Jimbo hangs out because they have what's called a Coke break. And he buys her biggest Coca-Cola he can find and then hands it to her and says, "Here you go, little buddy. Have fun with your mom."
And it's usually like at 8 o'clock at night when I do it too. So she's up.
Right? She's like, okay. So,
wait till the Coke breaks turn into an energy drink break.
Yeah, Coke break is drive mom crazy for the next hour and a half until you
speaking
pass
of Coke
out.
break, Jimbo, you may be on the hook for a dentist bill.
So, in honor of my little and her love of you guys, this is the Coca-Cola Spies. So, in 2006, one of the strangest corporate espionage cases in American history unfolded. 3 people with ties to Coca-Cola attempted to sell confidential information, not to a foreign government or an organized crime syndicate, but directly to Coca-Cola's biggest competitor, who is
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
But you know what it is now? It's Dr. Pepper.
Well, it is now, but back in 2006.
I heard Dr. Pepper took over that number 2 spot.
Yes. And so, what they expected to be a multi-million-dollar payout instead became an FBI sting operation after Pepsi immediately alerted Coca-Cola. Kudos to Pepsi. The case became a rare example of bitter corporate rivals working together to stop industrial espionage. For over a century, Coca-Cola and Pepsi had battled out in what had become known as the Cola Wars. The rivalry stretched across nearly every aspect of business, from television marketing, celebrity endorsements, product placement, pricing, sponsorship, restaurant contracts, even grocery shelf placements. Each company spent billions trying to outperform the other. Despite the fierce competition, both companies understood the stealing the trade secrets crossed an ethical and legal line that could damage reputations and expose them to criminal liability.
Well, it's good to know that Pepsi is an inferior product, but the people who started Pepsi at least had some morals.
Yes. I got to say, they fight a fair fight. It's good. Yes. So Joya Williams worked as a executive administrative assistant for the Coca-Cola headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Her position gave her access to the executive offices, confidential meetings, international correspondence, product development materials, sensitive business documents. And although she wasn't a scientist or a chemist, she had access to many information that other employees were never allowed to see. Federal investigations later determined that she abused the trusted position quite a bit. Williams recruited Edmund Dahani. He became the middleman responsible for helping to sell all stolen materials. Investigators later discovered he was participating in planning and communicating with what he believed were Pepsi. Dimsum acted as another accomplice, and this is Abraham Dimsum. He helped to arrange meetings and participated in negotiations during the attempt of the sales. Investigators later said that Williams gradually removed confidential items from the Coca-Cola headquarters. Among them were confidential marketing documents, internal business plans, product information, and samples of unreleased beverages. One important clarification: the Coca-Cola recipe was not stolen. The legendary recipe, often rumored to be locked in a vault, was never actually part of this crime. Instead, the thieves stole information valuable enough that the competitors would deem problematic. Instead of selling the information quietly, they contacted Pepsi. The correspondents sent a letter offering confidential Coca-Cola information. They reportedly asked for $1.5 million. Could you imagine, like, walking into Apple and being like, I know all of Google's shit, you know? I mean, like, what the hell were they thinking?
The difference is Apple would steal it.
Yeah,
That's the
you probably got
difference.
a point there. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Apple did steal some shit from IBM or from Xerox, I believe. Could be wrong, but they're like, well, a lot of that stuff was like, I think not Windows, Linux. It was like Linux, so it's okay. But Steve Jobs would have stole that shit.
Interesting. Well, executives at Pepsi immediately recognized the suspicious offer. They had a few options. They could ignore it, they could buy the information, or they could sell it to or notify the authorities. They chose the third option. Pepsi contacted Coca-Cola personally. Then both companies contacted the FBI. This was a huge moment in the case because for decades, these companies had spent billions trying to beat each other out. Yet when confronted with criminal theft, they started working together. The FBI designed an undercover operation. The agent posed with Pepsi. An agent posed as a Pepsi executive interested in buying the information. The suspects never realized they were negotiating with federal law enforcement. The meetings were secretly recorded, phone calls were monitored, emails were collected, and the investigation slowly built overwhelming evidence. Williams and her partners believed they were getting ready to close on this massive business deal. The group provided product samples, confidential documents, additional corporate information, and the undercover agent negotiated payment with all of the investigator gathered evidence. So eventually, the FBI arranged a final meeting, including cash. Once the exchange occurred, the agents moved in. The suspects were arrested, and the corporate spy operation was completely collapsed. Federal prosecution charged the defendants with conspiracy of theft of trade secrets. Their evidence included emails, recorded conversations, physical documents, product samples, witness testimonies, and multiple counts of... Oh, I just lost my place.
Oh, you had a Dustin moment.
I did.
What happens when you take months off to go memorize
to go
lines?
and act? I was memorizing other people's lines, not my own. That's good. And so, yes. Anyways, Joy Williams, the mastermind of this entire operation, ended up with 8 years in federal prison. The judge noted that Williams had violated the trust placed by her employer. Abraham Dimpson, he got 5 years. And Edmund Dunny, he received 2 years in prison after cooperating with investigators. Coca-Cola praised Pepsi's actions. The company officials thanked their rivals for immediately reporting and attempting the theft. It was one of the few moments during the Cola Wars where corporation replaced competition. Pepsi released a statement emphasizing competition should be fair and legal. Executives stated that they had no interest in their stolen trade secrets. Instead of trying to gain an unfair advantage, they chose to protect the marketplace with integrity. So it's kind of cool. It wasn't so much about the Coke recipe, which I have another story about that for another time. Who has the Coke recipe? And there's literally only like 2 people that know it, and they can't be traveling at the same time. It's a whole thing. So it's pretty cool.
Supposedly it's in a vault in the Coca-Cola world in Atlanta.
Yes.
Supposedly.
And there's only 2 people at any given point that know it. And yeah, it's a whole thing. So we'll have to get to that, some of that stuff. So it was definitely kind of a neat thing.
I think it's going to be in more places than that, because what happens, it goes back to when I toured Wild Turkey. What happens if something happens and the original yeast strain of Wild Turkey bourbon gets destroyed? You could never duplicate it. So it's in a couple places locked up across the country. So that way, if something happens, they can always go back to the original yeast strain so they can make wild turkey bourbon, because you have to have that yeast. But with Coke, yeah, you're going to put stuff out, but nobody's really going to know because Coke's going to keep that secret. But it's got to be in 3 or 4 locations, high security, next to Colonel Sanders' recipe for chicken. It's got to be.
So I gotta ask, do you think if they had gone to like any other cola company besides Pepsi, do you think there's a company out there that would have taken them on it?
Like Tab or Diet Right or RC
Fanta.
Cola?
A struggling place probably would have thought about it at least.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't know about Tab. I thought Tab was a Coke product.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Did you ever have
They're
Tab?
all so crossed anymore. It's crazy.
It was like the first Diet Pop.
It's still out,
labeled as a Diet Pop.
I actually kind of like the taste of it.
I was gonna say, do you think Pepsi like actually just read it over and they're like, "Oh, we can't do this," and as they like take a picture of it?
Yeah, they have Dustin's secret glasses on, filming everything. Haha, we have it.
They're filming it all.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to turn this in.
So here you go. So Tab was created and launched by the Coca-Cola Company in 1963. It was developed as the company's first ever diet soda, designed to compete with the growing success of Royal Crown's Diet Right. The iconic pink can beverage was eventually discontinued in the December of 2020.
I just saw it come back. I just saw some in the store. I thought
they may bring it back seasonally, because I remember buying some and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, it's okay.
I only had the option of Tab or Diet Right at my grandma's house, or water. So
I can't, for the life of me, my grandma would drink diet caffeine free Diet Coke. What's the point of drinking pop and not getting caffeine? You're drinking it diet, you're getting no caffeine. What's the freaking point?
Well, I do have a couple of fun facts. Do you know what the original recipe for Coca-Cola was?
cocaine and syrup and water.
You're not wrong.
It was like an energy elixir. I know that.
So the first version, it wasn't a soft drink at all. It was a syrup.
Yeah.
It was sugar, water, caramel coloring, citrus oil, caffeine, extract from cocoa leaves, and extracts from cola nuts. The cocoa leaves contained tiny amounts of cocaine, while the cola nuts actually contained caffeine. So it really wasn't illegal at that time, because cocaine was like in all kinds of medicines and wines, and it was medicinal and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, legend says that somebody mixed this syrup with carbonated water instead of plain water, and that's how the fizzy taste evolved, which is kind of cool.
So let me ask a question. Do you think Coke is better than Pepsi? Yes or no?
Yes.
So I only like 2 sodas.
Oh no, Pepsi?
No. Orange soda and root beer. Neither one of them are like. I like the generic shit.
Well, I just think Coke. I just think Coke's better because you ever go down south and everything down there's a Coke. I'll take a Coke. Yeah. No matter what soda it is, it's Coke.
Well, because Coke has ingrained it through marketing. I
grew up on the East Coast and it's soda. So everything was soda. And to this day, that's how I say it. So.
I think around like Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's soda again. In the South, because the one thing, I went to, I'm trying to think where we went. We went to one place in Atlanta that served Pepsi. And I'm like, you're in Coke country.
I was going to say that contract had to have been insane for him to get it.
Yeah, because it's everywhere. And because the South is so big and so old, you just take that term as a generic thing. And, some places is cola, soda, Coke. Some places call it by what it is, but
Coca-Cola was started in Atlanta, Georgia. But do you know how old it is?
It was in the I can't remember the exact year. It was right after the Civil War, I believe.
You are 100% right. It was
Like
1886.
86. Okay.
It was while they were rebuilding right after the Civil War. So kudos to you, man. You were
I
like
can't
spot
remember
on
the
on
guy's
that.
name. There's a statue at Coke World. I've been there a couple times.
Look at you being all fancy.
I like Atlanta. It's one of the places I like to go.
But when was
it-
the Diet Coke button put into the White House? That's what we need to know.
I don't know about
Probably
that. I
with,
don't
like
have that fact.
Reagan or somebody like that. But we all know they say the reason. So when you do a taste test, Pepsi is sweet. They're like, oh, taste tests prefer Pepsi over Coke because if you take one sip or two sips, you prefer the sweetness. But when you drink more than that,
You like the bite.
you like the Coke better. And they're like, well, Coke was made, I've heard like, well, Pepsi's before your Coke's before refrigeration and Pepsi's going to be cold. I'm like, I don't get into all that. But I guarantee if we do a blind taste test, I put one did it with the wife and kid during COVID because we had nothing better to do. We did a Coke Pepsi taste off and everybody in the house got Coke right.
It's not that hard.
No, but when you're blind taste test, it's like watch Hell's Kitchen where they'll like, you can't see and you eat something and you're trying to guess, you're not looking at it. So you don't subconsciously know. It's a little bit tougher, but Coca-Cola, I have not had last 2 years. I've probably had 6 to 10 regular pops and I'm trying to stay on the zero sugar to get off of pop completely. But man, Coke over ice, one can 2 liter, whatever. I don't care for 20 ounce. And most places.
Well, let me ask you this
on fountain, but it's so
how much
good.
do you pay when you like go to a gas station for a 24-ounce Coke now?
I think it's like 2 for $3,
bottle,
ain't it?
It's like $2.39 a piece. It's ridiculous.
So
you
the
can still almost
first
get a 2 liter cheaper than you can a damn 20-ounce bottle.
Oh yeah. So the first glasses were 5 cents a glass.
Insane.
5 freaking cents. And you know how many the average sales a day for like the first year was?
35,000
9 glasses per day.
per person.
No,
Oh,
per day.
Yeah, because it was added like a soda fountain. Yeah, the first year it was at a soda fountain.
It was not popular. It wasn't until they accidentally added the carbonation that it really took off.
I miss when they had cocaine and Coke.
Yes. So it was it definitely, there's a ton more I could do. They talk about in the Coca-Cola, you were asking about the bank or the bank vaults. So it said that they were stored in a secure bank vault. In 2011, the company ceremonially removed what it says is the written formula to a high security vault at the World of Coca-Cola, where visitors can see the vault door, but not the formula itself. Whether the displayed vault contains the only copy of the recipe or serves partly as a marketing attraction, it's never been explained by the company. So,
I preferred the World of Coke before that expansion in 2011 because we went in 2009. I preferred the whole experience better than the new one. But I mean, it's a pretty impressive freaking door, and they've got like fake lights out in front of it, and I'm sure it's in that vault down below, deep where you'll never get to it. But it definitely is they take you. That's like one of the first stops, I think, now. But they definitely.
It's probably not even there at all. It's probably in some guy's safe at his house.
I'm sure some type of proof, like for a tree.
Can you imagine breaking in and going down there, getting the envelope, pulling it out, and be like, "Gotcha."
Well, the whole reason why Santa Claus is in his red suit is because of Coca-Cola. They wanted him in a red suit.
It was green back in the day, wasn't it?
It was green, and he was not the chunky man that we all know and love today.
My grandma used to collect Santa, so she's got different. Like she had the people would get them from all over the place.
Oh yeah,
she had hundreds, if not thousands, and different years of how that he was portrayed, different countries. I mean, it was a lot, and that's what she did. That was her thing, was Santa's, and There was a lot of green ones, but like I said, Coke found a way to, whether it was painting the stuff on a building or coming up with some type of print ad, they were a genius when it come to marketing, because it was all, and I'm sure, you know, the other stuff progressed outside the 50s and 60s, but man, the painting on the buildings was, you know, like your first billboards, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now I think it's time for a Coke break, but my Coke is a Dr. Pepper.
Everybody thirsty now?
This episode was brought to you by the delicious Celsius Peach Mango.
I was going to say, and we are in no way, shape, or form being sponsored by Coca-Cola, but if they would like to send us one, I would totally drink it.
If Coca-Cola.
If you would like to sponsor Jacke's little daughter for the Coke breaks.
Coke break.
If you want to sign, you know, a Coke break, a Celsius break.
You want to keep her up for the next hour and a half.
If you guys want to send a donation to Dark Discovery, we will forward it to Jacke's little daughter for a Coke break. You know how people have coffee breaks? We'll give it to a Coke break.
Oh my gosh. Be running around this house for a day.
By the world
to drink in perfect harmony.
Yes. Guys, this has been a fantastic welcome back. I've missed you so much. It's been such a long time since I got to record.
I think it's been like,
give it a week and you'll be over it.
I think it's been like 4 months, right?
On my nerves.
It's been 4 months almost exactly since I've got to be with you guys. So yeah, it's great to be back.
I think lunch is on Jimbo when we get. Yeah, we're talking about how he really wanted
Yummy
to take
Bowl.
the Yummy Bowl on his dime.
Oh, I'll pay for Yummy Bowl. Absolutely. That's the best place in the world. Well, guys, thanks for joining
Yummy
us
Bowl,
again on this
noodle supplier.
Thanks for joining us again on this episode of Dark Discoveries. It's great to have the band all back together. Yeah, Dustin and I put out some episodes, but it's always fun when we have the trio back, because we told her when she joined that whenever she's got to do what she's got to do, then Dustin and I will keep the train rolling. Poor me dealing with Dustin all this time. But Jackie, we do need to get on. We've been slacking in the missing children area of every episode, and we have been slacking on the Forgive Me Nots. So we're glad you're back, so you can pick that back up for us, because
absolutely, we got to bring those babies home.
Yeah, it's so disheartening. But with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, because remember, Dustin, remember,
this isn't the tragedy.
I didn't do the tragedy.
You're trying to lead into and cut. And
no, I wasn't. That's where your mind went. Oh God. Glad you're back, Jackie, because I can't deal with him much longer by myself. So remember, Dustin, remember one thing. The deeper you dive,